Namaste students. Can you all hear? Yes. Can we recall what we learnt yesterday? What we learnt? Newton's second law and third law. Right? Yes. Who will say the second law of motion? Yes. Can you all hear me?
The
Yes.
force
Who will say?
acting on a
Yes,
the
Lavanya, say.
force acting on a the force acting on a body is directly proportional to the rate of change of linear momentum of the body, and the change in momentum takes place in the direction of the force.
Direction. Yes. Very good. Very good. Yes. Then what derivation we derived for this? Harini? What equation we derived for this second law? Yes, we have to do our homework and come, children. Yes, which derivation we derived? At least last final equation you can say. What was the equation we derived?
F is equal to m into a.
Yes, F is equal to m into a. What is the expansion for that F, m, a?
Force is equal to mass into acceleration.
Very good. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. Then we switched on to the third equation, third law of motion. Who will say the third law? I think Priya should say now. Priya, where are you?
For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. They also act on two different bodies.
Very good. Now I'll start today's topic. Today's topic is our linear momentum. Yes, today we'll be starting. This is again one more derivation, that is conservation of linear momentum. What is the meaning of conservation? You are making it constant, conserving that thing, so that here the linear momentum acting on bodies will be constant. That I will tell you by that equation, by the explanation. Here, two objects I have taken, two balls. We will take that black color as A, body A, and the white color that as body B. Okay, so A is having mass m1 and B is having mass m2. These two bodies are moving with initial velocities. You can see there on the top u1, u2. So that means initial velocities it is moving. Okay, so body A having mass m1 moving with velocity u1. Body B having mass m2 moving with velocity u2. Okay, so here this is I have written on the heading before collision. What is the meaning of that? Collision means two objects coming together or dashing together, that is collision. So here but two are separated, so this is before collision. What is happening? The balls, I will not say balls, these are two bodies. The two bodies are moving with initial velocities u1 and u2. In the second case, what happens? This is during collision. In that case, u1 is greater than u2. We have to consider the u1, that is the velocity of body A, should be greater than the velocity of body B. So u1 should be greater than u2. So in the second case, what happened? After a time t, that u1, that A body will dash body B and with force Fa and Fb. So when they are dashing, A object will have a force Fa and B body will have a force Fb. Okay. Now in the third situation, that is after collision, both have dashed. Now what happens? Then the body A and body B moves with velocity v1 and v2. So before collision, the two bodies were moving with initial velocities u1 and u2, and after collision, the two bodies are moving with velocities v1 and v2. Everything else is same. Body A, body B having mass m1, mass m2, only the velocities changes v1 and v2. Okay, so again see the picture. Before collision, two bodies m1 and m2 is the masses, u1 and u2 are the velocities. So here u1 is greater than u2, so that's why both collide each other, and then what are the forces during that collision? Fa and Fb. So after collision, what happens? They move with velocities v1 and v2. Okay. Now based on these three situations, we are going to form an equation and derive that equation. Okay. First thing. Now force acting on body B. Now A and B are there. I told A velocity is more. So A velocity will move with the force and fall on B. Okay, that is only collision. So that FB is equal to M2 V2 minus U2 by T. This is the rate of change of momentum. Yesterday we derived. Okay, only the numbers are different here because based on the body A and B. So A will have all 1, M1, V1, U1, and B will have all 2, that is M2, V2 and U2. So here force B is equal to M2 in the bracket V2 minus U2 by T. So V2 minus U2 is change in velocity, that is final velocity and the initial velocity. Now force acting on body A. So according to Newton's law, what happens? When a force is applied on B, B also exerts a force on A. So what is that force? Fa is equal to M1 V1 minus U1 divided by T. Okay, so whenever anything is, now we are deriving, all the three laws, somewhere or the other, it will be linked. Now here the third law is linked, that is action and reaction. One force is acting on B, so B will also act on A. So Fa is equal to M1 V1 minus U1 by T. So now next what happens? Again with the third law, action force is equal to reaction force. We told that there is a particular name for each law. So third law is known as action force and reaction force. So Fa is equal to minus of Fb. Why is that minus? Because it acts in opposite direction. We know that what is the third law? Every action has equal and opposite reaction. Equal reaction, okay, but it is in opposite direction. So that is why that minus sign. Okay. So now action force according to Fa, whatever we have written here, I have written the same way. What is Fa? All one parts, that is M1, V1, U1 by T. Okay, so I have written here M1, V1 minus U1 by T, and Fb is equal to M2, V2 minus U2 by T, along with that minus sign. Now we have to, this denominator T and T will get cancelled. Okay, because they are both the common factors, so it will get cancelled off. So from the numerator, we have to remove the bracket and expand it. So what is remaining in the numerator? M1 V1 minus U1 equal to minus M2 V2 minus U2. So remove that T, whatever is in the numerator, I have written there. Okay. Now next, same thing I have written on the top. From that, if you remove the bracket, how you can write? So now M1 into V1. So M1 into V1 minus sign. Someone is scribbling on the screen. So M1 U1. So after the minus sign, that M1 has to be multiplied with that two factors. Okay. Along with that minus sign in the center, which is equal to, again minus sign I have put there. This M2 has to be multiplied with that other two factors in the bracket. So M2 V2. Now this I have written here plus, because minus and minus will give you plus sign, and M2 U2. Understood? M1 V1 minus sign M1 U1, which is equal to, the front that same minus sign will remain M2 V2, but from the bracket when you are removing, that minus and minus will replace with plus sign. So M2 U2. Now take all the one terms together and two terms together. That is U terms together and V terms together. So M1 V1 as it is I have written. Now from this side M2 V2 I have to bring this side. So what I will do, that minus sign when it changes its position, the equal to sign, it will change into plus sign. So M1 V1 plus M2 V2, which is equal to, now this is also having minus sign here, M1 U1. So I will, when I bring it there, it changes into positive. So M1 U1 plus M2 U2. So now U terms I have brought it first because that is the initial one and V is the final velocity. So U terms bring it front and V terms I have taken it backside. So what is the meaning of this is, the algebraic sum of initial momentum. Now what is m and u? Momentum. But it is initial, that when it is having that initial momentum before collision. Okay, so velocity of u takes place in before collision and v takes place after collision. So the algebraic sum of momentum before collision is equal to the algebraic sum of momentum after collision. So before collision and after collision, the momentum doesn't change. It is conserved. It is constant. Okay, so that is the conservation of linear momentum. So what is the writing part of it? The algebraic sum of momentum before collision is equal to the algebraic sum of momentum after collision. You can see here from this equation, m1 u1 m2 u2 equal to m1 v1 m2 v2. Okay, so this algebraic sum is equal to this algebraic sum. What is the difference between here u is there, here v is there? This is before collision, this is after collision. Okay, understood? One more time. 3 stages we have seen of two bodies: before collision, during collision, and after collision. So during before collision, what happens? Moving with velocity u1 and u2, and after collision v1 and v2. Some force is exerting during the collision, Fa and Fb. So from there we have to start. Force acting on a body. Here diagrams are compulsorily required. When you derive this, you have to draw the 3 diagrams: before collision, during collision, after collision. Then you have to start with the equation. Okay, so Fb is equal to m2 v2 minus u2 by t, and Fa is equal to m1 v1 minus u1 by t. Now according to the from Newton's third law, Fa is equal to minus Fb. So that whatever Fa and Fb equation is there, I have substituted here with the negative sign. So now t and t will get cancelled off. Numerator I have written here. And in this, from that numerator part, you have to remove the bracket and expand it. So m1 v1 minus m1 u1 equal to minus of m2 v2, and minus minus will become positive, and m2 u2. So now v terms together, u terms together. First itself you can take u terms at the one side. It is not necessary that first you have to take v side, and I have made you, for your understanding purpose, I have written like this. Because starting is m1 v1, so I have written with the starting v as together and u as together. Then I have taken the right hand side first and left hand side the other side. That's all. If after this step itself, you can come to the final step. No problem. Okay, so initial momentum is together and final momentums are together. So what you can frame the sentence? The algebraic sum of momentum before collision is equal to the algebraic sum of momentum after collision. Okay. Now next is the rocket propulsion. What is rocket propulsion? Now I have shown here 2 types of rockets, where one is using liquid fuel and another is using solid fuel. So what is liquid fuel? What they are using in the liquid fuel is hydrogen liquid. They will use as a fuel here. Okay. So when the hydrogen liquid and some type of oxidizer, here it is given, liquid oxidizer, that is oxygen. Why that oxidizer is used? Because of that oxidizer only it will burn. It will start burning, and because of that burning, what happens? Hot gases will be given out and it will be pushed upwards. This is according to Newton's third law. Because with a high velocity, the gases are pushing downward, means the rocket will be pushed upward. Okay, this is for liquid fuel. Now solid fuel here, again solid fuel and oxidizer is given here. Solid fuel is what they are using, carbon they are using as solid fuel, and potassium nitrate as the oxidizer. So but they will not put solid as it is, they will make it into fine powder form, and then they will put it, because when they put it in the powder form, the spark to ignite will be much faster than it is in the solid form. Okay, so first they will make it in the powder form, and then they will put it in that chamber, and then the hot gases will be given out and rocket will be pushed upward. So this one topic is there for us as rocket propellant. So just for understanding purpose, I have shown the liquid and solid. Okay. Now I'll come to the topic, that is rocket propulsion. So how the rocket propulsion take place? That is how that ignition of rocket take place. That is according to the two principles is here. That is Newton's third law of motion and also conservation of linear momentum. Just now we told that as the hot gases comes down, rocket will be pushed upward. So that is according to Newton's third law. Then how that conservation of linear momentum, that is whatever the momentum or the velocity and the mass to take push the gas downward, that much momentum will be required to push the rocket upward. So here no more that is momentum is not higher downwards or higher upward, it is equal, so it is conserved. So momentum is also conserved. Conservation of linear momentum principle and Newton's third law of motion principle are used here for the rocket propulsion. Just now I have just made a mind map for this, how it is. So in the propellant tank, the fuel is filled. Okay. So when the fuel is filled in the propellant tank and the rocket is fired, what happens? The fuel gets burned and hot gases emits with high velocity. The velocity for the hot gases to emit downward will be very high. So when it is high velocity pushing downward, the it will be much faster to move upward direction. So as it is moving, what happens? The mass decreases. How the mass will decrease? When as the fuel is getting lesser and lesser, the mass of the rocket will get decreased. Okay. So as the fuel tank is getting, the fuel is getting lesser and lesser, the mass of the rocket also decreases. But what happens is it is going in a straight forward direction. Higher and higher altitude it goes. What happens? The velocity will increase. As the mass decreases, yesterday I gave example for a truck and a bicycle. So mass is more means velocity will be less. Mass is less, velocity will be more. So same thing is happening here. Now the tank is getting lesser and lesser, so mass is reduced. So as the mass is reduced, what happens? Velocity will be more. So with the higher velocity, it is moving upward. So at a certain point, as it is going higher and higher, at a certain point, what happens? The velocity, the gravitational pull of the earth will be reduced. Okay. So at that point, what happens? The rocket will move freely. That is, will escape into the space. That is, no gravitational pull will be there. So it can move in any direction in the space. So that point is called as the escape velocity. So first it will be going only in one certain direction. Then later on it will change its direction when the velocity the gravitational pull is not there. So this point is called as the escape velocity. Okay. So here this will come for short notes, that is rocket propulsion. So first point you have to write what are the principles we can use in this rocket propulsion. Then you write the how it goes up and what happens when it is going up higher and higher altitude. Okay.
Okay.
Yes, have you all understood, children? Now in this lesson, 3-4 derivations are there. So then and there you have to do your homework. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you. Which derivation for what, you will get confused. So first we learned the derivation for Newton's second law. Right? What was that? F is equal to ma. From the linear momentum, we learned what is F is equal to ma. Now today you are learning second derivation, that is conservation of linear momentum. So here before collision, these diagrams are very, very compulsory. You need not draw the balls. You can just make a round shape, that is M1, mark that A and B, M1, M2, U1, U2, like that. But heading should be there before collision, during collision, and after collision. So after these three diagrams, come to the derivation part. That is, what is the force acting on the B and what is the force acting on A. So FBs, you have written M2 V2 minus U2 by T. FA is equal to M1 V1 minus U1 by T. then action force is equal to reaction force. So with a negative sign, you have to write that equation. Fa is equal to minus Fb. Minus sign indicates that it is moving in opposite direction. Okay. So that same equation I have written here for Fa and Fb with a negative sign. Tt will get cancelled. Then only the numerator you have to write, and with the numerator you have to expand, remove the bracket and expand it. Then here only the sign change will come at the right hand side, because negative negative will give positive sign. So with that, v terms together, u terms together. So what I have done, I think in your textbook v terms are there, and this what is this law is what you call for this, the equation whatever it tells is the algebraic sum of momentum after collision I think is given. No problem, you can write like that. If you are writing after collision, your equation should be that in the green one, just above the blue color, that only will be your equation. Since I have made initial first, my writing will be like before collision. Always initial velocity when it is coming before collision. So I have done m1 u1 plus m2 u2, m1 v1 plus m2 v2. So before collision equal to after collision. That will be, because the diagram also you are drawing like that. So this will be much more easier for you to write and understand. So I have framed it like that. So before collision equal to after collision. And here also the writing part also I have written like that. Algebraic sum of momentum before collision is equal to algebraic sum of momentum after collision. Then comes rocket propulsion. I told two types of fuel you can fill in the rocket. One is liquid fuel, solid fuel. Solid will be carbon and potassium nitrate. One is the correct fuel and another is the oxidizer to burn that fuel. Same way in liquid, it is hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is the fuel and oxygen is the oxidizer. So when oxygen is there, you can burn the fuel. In the another one, potassium nitrate can burn the fuel. So that hot gases will be given out and rocket will be going upward. After a certain stage, as it is going higher and higher and higher, what happens? The gravitational pull will become lesser and lesser. And ultimately, it will not be there and the rocket can escape in this space. So that point is called as the escape velocity. Okay. Understood, children? Any doubt? Anything you want me to explain, you can ask children. Any point you have not understood? Either rocket propulsion or the equations?
Mati,
Yes. Who is that?
Rocket propulsion, Maji.
Can I explain once more time?
ஆமா மாஜி புரியல.
சரி, ஓகே. யாரு, நேஹாவா?
ஆமா மாஜி.
ஓகே, சொல்றேன். Yes, again, rocket propulsion, I'm going to explain one more time. I've just shown the picture. In your textbook, nothing of liquid fuel, solid fuel is given. Only fuel is given. For your understanding, what fuels are taken as solid and what fuels are taken as liquid, I'm showing you this picture. That's all. Okay. So two types of rockets are there. There are many types, but I'm showing only two types here: liquid fuel rocket and solid fuel rocket. So liquid fuel means what are the liquids it is taken as a fuel is hydrogen will be the fuel, and to burn the hydrogen, one oxygen oxidizer is used there. So hydrogen plus oxygen is the fuel used there. So what happens when oxygen is used for burning? The fuel burns with very high velocity and then the gas is pushed downwards. You can see the burning downwards, right? So as the gas is coming from downwards, what happened? The rocket will be pushed upward with a higher velocity. So this is just the starting of the how the rocket moves upward with liquid fuel. Same thing for solid fuel. The fuel used here is carbon, and the oxidizer used here is potassium nitrate. One of the oxidizer is potassium nitrate. So when the it ignites, that is it start burning, what happens? It gives hot gases from down and the rocket starts to move upward. Okay, this is only for your understanding purpose, that how a rocket gases are given down and what fuels are used for that purpose. Our topic comes next, that is, what are the principles used in rocket propulsion? The two laws used here, one is Newton's third law. Just now I told, as the gases comes down with higher force, what happened? The rocket will be moved upward. So equal and opposite reaction takes place. So this is Newton's third law of motion. Next is conservation of linear momentum. Here, whatever the velocity and mass of the rocket is momentum used to push the gases, same momentum is taken for moving upward. So the momentum is conserved. There is no higher or lower momentum here. Okay. So momentum is conserved. That is, it's constant. Conservation here means constant. Okay. Now, just a mapping I have done here. That is, when a tank is full, the propellant tank is full, what happens? The rocket fires, that is, it starts to ignite, and when the fuel is burning, what happens? The hot gases emits with very high velocity. It is given from downward direction. So what happens when the gases are given down? The rocket starts moving upward. So as it is moving, what happens? The rocket mass will be reduced. Why it is getting reduced? Because fuel is getting emptier and emptier. Okay, and burn பண்றதுக்கு fuel வேணும்ல, அந்த fuel காலி ஆச்சுன்னா என்ன ஆகும்? அந்த ராக்கெட்டோட mass, it will get reduced. So the mass get reduced. As it is going higher and higher, again the mass will be very lighter and lighter. So that is why it can go at a higher speed. So that there is an increase in the velocity of the rocket. So now at a certain point, what happens? That the gravitational pull will not be there. Okay, so you must have seen the rocket launching and all, it will go straight in straight direction. After a certain point, as it is going higher and higher, what happens? The gravitational pull will be reduced. It will be like negligible, nilla irukkum. So அந்த டைம்ல என்ன ஆகும்? Straight போகாம it can go with in that's any other direction. So that point is called as the escape velocity. It will try to escape from the gravitational pull and go with another velocity. Okay, so this is just in writing it is given. If I thought if I do like this, you will be able to understand. That's all. So from the rocket firing, how it is moving with an escape velocity. That's it. So questions will be given for your assignment. Try to complete it. I know a lot of burden is there, but then and there, if you do your homework, it will be easy for you. Okay, children? Thank you.